Oh, hey, look at me. I'm down by a river with a microphone. Just a reminder, Blue Ox Running is putting together a marathon training series podcast. I'm about to record probably the most important episode. It's going over the taper, race week, the overall summary. If you haven't listened to any of them and you want kind of a good summary of everything, you're going to want to listen to this one, episode number 8. And then the most important part, I would say, of all the episodes, I'm going to get into gratitude, looking back, finding the real reason why running a marathon is kind of important to me, and reflecting on that as we rest up and get ready to make the big push on Saturday. So blueoxrunning.com/marathon or YouTube or Spotify has all the episodes, and I'm excited to let you know what I think. Have a good day. Hey, everybody. This is Adam Condit with the Blue Ox Running Podcast. It is episode number 8 in our marathon training series. Very excited for this episode. I'm actually not inside in my normal office and seat where I shoot these. I am outside next to the Chippewa River. It's kind of maybe you hear some birds chirping, maybe you hear the water running by me. I am sitting, actually dangling my feet into the Chippewa River, recording this as an episode we can get into the taper and race week do's and don'ts. And then I want to talk a little bit about your mental game and gratitude as you look back on your training, build confidence, and get into that race day ready to rock. Not believing the lies and believing that you are fully ready to go. So, couple do's and don'ts when it comes to race week and the taper. I think the most important thing to think about is the fact that you're not going to build any significant fitness in the last couple weeks. So you can really look at it as you're never going to get better in the last couple weeks. You're only going to do something in an error to make you worse. So with that, I kind of err on the side of, obviously taking care of your body, getting enough sleep, not running too hard, being careful with the volume that you're putting on training. And let me just give you kind of my main taper regiment and something that I'm actually trying new this year. I'm trying something new this year because there's been a little bit more research on heat training, and this is my first marathon I've ever run in June. Even though it's up in Duluth, sometimes, grandmas, you can have anything for weather. So I want to be prepared in case it's hot. And even if it's not hot, then I've done the heat training, and that is all just goodness. So when it comes to my normal routine with the taper, I think of the taper as a 2-week taper, although I kind of add 1 day on top of that. So let me explain that. Remember, we have 12 weeks of a base phase, and then I follow that up by 5 weeks of a speed phase and what we call 5 weeks of a marathon-specific phase before a 2-week taper. Now, the last week of your marathon-specific phase, you'll be coming to the end of that week at full volume. You will not be tapering, but that long run on that week is technically 2 weeks out from the marathon race week, 2 weeks out from the marathon race weekend, and I'm not going incredibly long on that day. So usually my longest run period is actually 4 weeks out from the marathon, right in the middle of that marathon phase. I think I did a 24 miler that was like really hilly this year. And then 3 weeks out from the race, I did a 19 miler that was like a progression run. I was running I ran 9 miles easy and then 9 miles at marathon pace. And then I'm in that last week of the marathon phase, and I believe my long run was only like 14 miles. So I start to cut my long run on that last week, and then I'm in a full-blown taper for the last 2 weeks. What does the taper look like? Honestly, one misconception about the taper is you just stop running altogether, and you just don't care about running. That's not what I do. That's not what really good athletes do. You still continue to do a lot of the same stuff. You're just cutting the volume. In fact, you're not even cutting all the intensity out. I still do a Wednesday hard workout, and I still do a Saturday long run, but everything is at a cut of a volume. So 2 weeks out, I'll say like my first week of the taper, I cut everything by about 25 to 30%. So if I would normally go on a 60-minute run, I'm going to go on a 40 to 45-minute run. If I would normally have a long run that's 18 miles or like 2 hours, I'm going to go on a long run that's about an hour and 40, an hour and 45 minutes. So be careful on cutting too much, but also obviously be careful on cutting too little. So that sweet spot, in my opinion, is 25 to 30% of volume. I'm still doing, I believe I kind of wrote some of this stuff down. Like my workouts are a little bit sharper. I'm doing some more 400-meter repeats. I did a mile time trial actually about 11 days out from the marathon. So I ran like 4:35 in the mile, followed it up by like some 400-meter repeats. I got a cool down and a warm up on that. So that was a longer day, kind of, but it had some intensity in it. I'm also running some strides, some build-up strides after my easy days on 2 or 3 days throughout the week. So don't cut all of your intensity, but definitely start to cut your volume. And then what I'm going through right now is race week, and I cut everything by about 50% day to day. When I say day to day, it means what I would normally do as a 60 or an 80-minute run, I'm going to cut that to a 30 or a 40-minute run. Think of it day to day and not necessarily week to week, because I'm going to have a big old 26.2 mile race at the end of this week. And the question is, do I include that in my weekly mileage? Do I not? It's not really part of the taper. It's the race day. So again, just give your body about half of what it's expecting on the race week and give your body about 75% of what it's expecting on that second week out. So the first week of the taper. That's kind of my guidelines. I'm obviously listening to my body. If I feel something weird, I'm addressing it. If I feel overly fatigued, I'm rehydrating. I'm cutting that run a little short. Don't be afraid to switch out an easy day with a cross-training day. Don't be afraid to take a day off if you need it. Listen to your sleep. You got to do all the right things with stretching and just kind of staying mobile. Sometimes it's easy for our muscles to kind of like not get the same blood flow and the same elasticity. So I'm doing a little extra stretching at night, a little extra stretching in the morning. But other than that, trust the process. Trust that cutting the volume is going to help you and you will be good to go. Now, I normally would do like a Wednesday workout. I always have to fumble around with when that last kind of speed workout is going to be because I don't want it to be, 1, 2, or 3 days out from the marathon. I typically will do 3 days of very easy running before my race day, and I'll put the kind of that week's race week tune-up workout, so to speak, at like that fourth day out. So Grandma's is a Saturday race, so I want Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday to be very easy, only for myself anyway. It's, 30 to 40 minutes of very easy running. Some people only do 10 or 20. Some people don't run at all on one or a couple of those days. You can do what you want. I generally like to keep the blood flow and keep the muscles engaged a little bit. But then on Tuesday, I actually did my workout this week because I wanted 3 full days of easy jogging. Okay. So that is the taper. I'm excited. The other big, probably just as important piece about the taper and getting ready for this week is the mental side. Getting your brain engaged, getting it ready to go for a full-blown push. Now, it's very easy. Trust me, I'm experiencing it this week just as I experience it with all of my other marathons. It's very easy to start doubting and start thinking about there is no freaking way I'm going to be able to run that long at that pace. I'll share with you my race week workout. I go out, I warm up for about 20, 25 minutes, easy jogging, and then I do 2 miles at marathon pace. And then I rest for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then I just do 1 mile at about half marathon pace. Then I rest for about 2 minutes. And then I just run a mile, but I alternate the 400s to go fast, slow, fast, slow. And I don't even look at my watch for those 400s. I just don't care. I just go all on effort, a little bit of a fartlek run. But those 2 miles, when I am running marathon pace, I kid you not, the only thing I can think about when I'm running 2 miles at marathon pace is, yeah, this feels about right. This feels kind of easy, but there is no way I'm going to be able to do this for 26.2 miles. So what do? I got to get my head back on straight. I've got to rely on my training. I literally kind of look back at my training log this week with my extra time that I'm not running, and I look at the workouts. I look at the long runs. This is actually the main reason I like Strava, and I like, kind of a digital online training log that you can get to things easily. Or you could totally do this. There's a duck that just went by me. Maybe you heard that. Maybe you do it all, in a handwritten journal. You could look back and flip through, but I literally take a pen and a piece of paper and a notebook, and I write down all the workouts I did and all the long runs I did, and I just look at that for a while. I did 12 weeks of base and then 5 weeks of speed, 5 weeks of marathon. So specific training for about 10 weeks in there, all my workouts, all my long runs, and I just look at it and the memories start to pop in. Oh yeah, that was the week that I did 5 by 1,000 and I didn't feel that good, but I still got through it. Oh yeah, that was the week I did, I had to cut my run a little short because I was late for work, but I still, instead of going to the track, I still did the same workout in a fartlek, manner in the middle of my run. Oh yeah, that was my best long run ever. I'm thinking of the 24-mile long run I did while camping in the hills of the bluffs of Minnesota. I'm also thinking of my 19-mile progression run 4 weeks out or 3 weeks out from the marathon. I'm also thinking of my mile time trial that was just super fun with other people. I'm also thinking of a very fun tune-up half marathon that I had. And as I just look at this page, even as I'm recording this podcast, I start to remember, oh yeah, there's been a lot of miles. There's been a lot of training. There's been a lot of skin in the game over the last however many weeks. It's not just about how you feel right now. It's about how fit you've become over the last really 6 months and 6 years. And the years that have built up to this are very exciting to put in a good push for Saturday. So those are my main tips for the taper. You have to, number one, be a little analytical about it. Trust that 25 to 30% reduction in volume for that first week and a 50% reduction in volume for that second week are going to be helpful. Be smart about your last long runs. Don't overdo it. And fill yourself with gratitude and remembrance to what you've already done. Not just on your training, but I guess the last piece that I'll close with here is the non-running stuff. The non-running stuff. Here's the magic of running a marathon, everybody. Here's the secret to doing well and being victorious in the marathon. It's all led up to this. This whole podcast series has led up to this. Here's my biggest tip. Marathons don't actually matter. Marathons literally don't actually matter. They do, but they don't. And this is what I mean by that. They don't really matter in the sense that when you die and you're at your funeral, no one's really going to care what your marathon time is. And if they do, then they probably didn't know you that well because you should be known for more than your marathon time. But they do matter in the sense that they can bring out the best in us. They can bring out not just these qualities of delayed gratification and planning and being disciplined and things that, distance running is good at teaching us through life, but it can really bring together community. The marathon, I'm so excited for this marathon in some ways. There's a helicopter flying above me. Maybe you can hear that. I'm so excited for this marathon. It's very special to me. It's my 10th marathon, although it's my first one that I'm doing to which my dad has passed. So I'll have him in my heart the whole way through. Also, my 7-year-old nephew who has cancer. I'll be wearing the same hat as him. So all these little things, my green hat, I'm really excited to put on because I think that he'll have the green hat on Saturday. I'll be thinking about him. And that really puts in perspective how important or how unimportant some of these things that we do are. I feel very blessed and have a lot of gratitude to even have my health after a big injury a couple years ago. And then one thing that's particular about Grandma's Marathon is I've never run the full marathon up there. And I'm excited in the first year that Matt Evans isn't with us in Eau Claire here, I'm excited to go up to his stomping grounds and see him at the finish line because he's seen me at so many finish lines here in Eau Claire. I'm literally almost getting like a little, okay. Like even thinking about some of this stuff with Matt, Luca, my dad, my mom will be there. My wife has put up with a lot when it comes to training and all the sacrifice that people don't see, and watching the kids and running the business and all this stuff. Like, it takes an army to really have fun at this stuff. It's hard to do it alone. So my heart is already full, and I guess I'll share. Well, no, I won't share. I'm not going to share that. I think I'm going to keep that one for myself. I've got something that my dad used to say to me before a race, but I think I'm just going to let that be. I think that's a good end to this podcast here. I'm 2 days away from running the Grandma's Marathon. I'm incredibly excited. Thank you. If there's anyone left out there actually following these podcasts, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to put out 2 afterwards, which means one will be just kind of a race recap and how I felt about it. And then the second one will be a little bit further after. I'll give some time for question and answer and maybe touch on recovery a little bit. So, signing off here in Eau Claire by the Chippewa River, about to go finish some invoices at the store, wrap it up, get the mind and the email and the bills mentally cleared out of my mind so I can go up, pick up my packet, and have a great day on Saturday. Notice I didn't say anything about checking the weather. That's not the most important thing you can do. It is important. So check the weather along with your taper, and then be prepared, pack all your gear, go back and listen to the other episodes about gear and nutrition and all that good stuff that will contribute. But the most important things tend to actually be the non-running things. Just remember, marathons are not important. They are, but they aren't. I'll see you on the other side, everybody. I love you, Eau Claire. Goodbye.
Fast.
Or slow.
Let's go! Fast or slow? Let's go! Fast or slow? Let's go!